Many people out there have been speculating on that Meghan Markle has lied about her age. Is she actually older?
What if the biggest royal deception of the decade didn't come from Buckingham Palace, but from Meghan Markle herself? One person has been screaming this truth for years while everyone chose to ignore her, Samantha Markle.
I'm going to quote Tom Bauer by saying, he said, look, we all laughed at Samantha and she was right. And everything she said has come true.
The numbers behind Meghan's official story completely collapse under examination. Media outlets fed us this perfect self-made Hollywood dream, while Samantha kept insisting the math around Meghan's birth year was as fake as her royal exit strategy.
And there was something, in my opinion, missing in their eyes. It didn't seem real to me.
Every birthday party, every Turning 40 magazine shoot, what if those candles were marking completely wrong numbers this whole time? This isn't ordinary family conflict. This is calculated fraud hidden behind luxury fashion and palace protection.
There's a very big difference. It was deliberate.
When Samantha first sounded these alarms, Meghan's supporters crushed her as envious, bitter, meaningless. Time has this wicked way of exposing truth, though, and now vintage magazines, family snapshots, even hospital records are proving Samantha's insane theory might be the only honest thing anyone said.
I'll tell you why. What she told the royal family, what she told Harry, wouldn't have jived, wouldn't have been consistent with the truth.
If Meghan genuinely rewrote her entire timeline, if the Duchess of Reinvention actually erased years from her life, then the royal truth isn't a crown, it's pure theater. Start questioning that foundation and watch everything crumble, because behind every polished social media post hides a first draft you weren't supposed to discover. Meghan's original version might conceal a completely different birthday.
There's nothing original here.
I hope you're having the best birthday you've ever had. Thank you for everything.
Which is really such a fake.
Before the world knew Meghan Markle as royalty, Samantha Markle described her as something else, a puzzle surrounded by vanishing years. Netflix documentaries and palace statements came later, while Samantha quietly held family memories that refused to match the public timeline. Birthday dates that shifted, school photos bearing wrong years, stories that contradicted everything, and when she raised questions, society completely rejected her. Critics called her resentful and jealous, but Samantha wasn't running on emotion. She had evidence.
I remember when she was born, big new addition to the family, and we just have a very young sister here.
Family gatherings where Meghan declared herself 9 years old while photographs captured someone clearly teenage. Personal milestones that strangely relocated across paperwork as though someone had retroactively edited her biography. Samantha wasn't launching attacks, Mintis was assembling contradictions that journalists deliberately ignored. Each polish added to Meghan's public persona pushed Samantha's warnings further underground. She maintained her position because this represented mathematics rather than entertainment gossip to her. The calculations failed basic logic, and royal glamour couldn't repair that fundamental error.
When she said, I lost my father, we knew that she didn't lose our dad, she iced our father.
Samantha's eventual public statements weren't emotional breakdowns, but desperate appeals for truth. Should Meghan fabricate something so elementary, Samantha implied, what other elements might be artificial? That solitary question fractured Meghan's polished public facade and began spreading like persistent doubt, since discovering one lie inevitably reveals others. Samantha wasn't alone in noticing problems, though. Thomas Markle, her father, was also observing, and when Thomas chose to speak publicly, everything Meghan had constructed began trembling. Thomas's next revelations didn't merely challenge her account, they demolished it entirely. Thomas Markle never intended to join a royal investigation. He was simply a loving father with photography equipment, capturing birthday parties, theatrical performances, and important occasions.
Her childhood was with me.
When Meghan's authorized biography appeared in publications years afterward, something struck Thomas as fundamentally incorrect. The chronology seemed artificially perfect, the schedules excessively organized. Thomas vividly recalled transporting a teenage daughter to casting calls while official records suggested she was elementary school age. Initially, Thomas doubted his recollections, possibly decades had become confused in memory. Yet old photographs revealed an entirely different account. Photo captions, academic records, and personal memories that absolutely contradicted the authorized Meghan Markle chronology appearing in publications worldwide.
I got it through high school, I got it through college.
Thomas's deeper investigation revealed increasingly strange discoveries. Should Meghan truly have been born during August 1981, why did family celebrations, academic transcripts, and personal letters suggest she was several years older? Thomas viewed this as failed arithmetic rather than royal conspiracy. He possessed perfect recall of his daughter's age during her first automobile, first employment, first romantic heartbreak, yet none aligned with the official story created by palace and publicity representatives. Media outlets labeled Thomas confused when he carefully mentioned these contradictions. Yet Thomas wasn't confusing dates, he was accessing details permanently imprinted in paternal memory. Her graduation gown, her birthday celebration, the year marked on a misplaced family holiday card. Thomas then realized something fundamentally wrong existed. Should the woman featured in palace announcements differ from the daughter he raised, then a completely rewritten story had been marketed, while he accidentally retained the authentic version.
She delivered it like an actress delivered it.
But apparently for me, that doesn't matter.
One overlooked publication page proved Thomas's memories represented evidence rather than mere sentiment. That discovery would ignite internet controversy completely. Meghan's defenders spent years claiming no proof existed beyond family discussions and uncertain recollections. Then internet researchers discovered something indisputable: printed documentation. 17 Magazine's March 1997 edition featured Meghan Markle, 21, listed among young women in a lifestyle article. 21 years old, not 15 or 16. Published, printed, archived. That single listing transformed speculation into documented contradiction.
In my opinion, she would still be a waitress if it wasn't for Dad.
Should Meghan have been officially born during 1981, she would have been a high school sophomore that spring, definitely too young for adult modeling features. Yet there it appeared, undeniably clear, existing long before royal celebrity or publicity manipulation could have altered the story. Critics attempted dismissing it as possible printing errors or different individuals entirely. Yet even skeptics acknowledged virtually impossible coincidence odds. The photograph, the name, the California location, minus everything matched too precisely.
How can you get your age so wrong?
Suddenly, Samantha's supposedly jealous complaints appeared prophetic rather than envious. The magazine page became the first physical evidence supporting an alternative chronology, one existing long before cameras, crowns, and controversy. Digital gossip can vanish and social media posts can disappear, yet printed publications preserve truth. That 1997 page wasn't merely an article, it was evidence quietly awaiting discovery. When conflicting timelines meet, only one survives, and Meghan's might not be the documented version. Two entirely different accounts of Meghan Markle's life now confronted each other, one recorded in royal documentation, another sketched by those who actually experienced it alongside her.
This is a copy of 17 magazine, and it was published in March of 1997. In it, it mentions our Megzy from Los Angeles and that she was 21 years old at the time of publication. That would make her birth year at around 1976.
The authorized Meghan, born August 4, 1981, advances through existence with calculated public achievements, Los Angeles education, acting opportunities during her 20s, royal celebrity at 30-something, perfectly organized, perfectly managed. Then there's the alternative account, the rough sketch Samantha and Thomas describe, a Meghan who had already reached young adulthood by the mid-1990s, who appeared in adult publications, who didn't merely manipulate schedules but potentially rewrote them completely. One version places her at 37 during Archie's birth. The alternative puts her already past 40. That represents a completely different biography rather than minor miscalculation.
But if you look at this, Meghan Markle has been incredibly quiet about the birth, but mostly the pregnancy of these children. Everything has been shady. The one who's been blabbing and saying crazy things is Prince Harry.
The contrast resembles two separate stories. One polished for media distribution, another handwritten in family photo collections. Palace officials support the authorized documentation, yet evidence continues suggesting something entirely different. Which account represents reality, the glossy biography or the version that never survived editorial review? Should the documented chronology have been constructed for image purposes, the rough version appears authentically human, chaotic, unpolished, and far less royal. Comparing those two ages reveals another dramatic question: how did pregnancies work within either timeline? Should the mathematics be incorrect there, the entire illusion begins collapsing everywhere.
When you're pregnant, there's not a pillow under your skirt, and there's live footage of her walking towards camera with her abdomen swaying left to right in a black and white checkered dress.
Meghan's pregnancy announcement generated headlines celebrating a royal miracle at 37. Camera flashes erupted, supporters celebrated, and palace officials declared perfect timing. Yet beneath the spectacle, mathematics suggested something completely different. Should the mid-1970s birth year possess any accuracy, Meghan would have been 42 or 43 during Archie's arrival. an age range medical professionals classify as high-risk territory. That single fact completely overturns the entire fairy tale pregnancy story. Pregnancies beyond 40 typically require additional monitoring, specialized screenings, and extended hospital visits, none matching the effortless image presented publicly. The pregnancy photographs appeared magazine perfect. The schedules were flawless. The recovery seemed almost cinematic, excessively smooth, overly edited. Medical professionals quietly observed what tabloids overlooked. Older mothers face increased risks, extended recoveries, and intensive post-birth monitoring. Yet Meghan's story played out like luxury resort marketing with candles, smiles, and perfect lighting. Should she genuinely have been past 40, the extraordinary secrecy surrounding her delivery suddenly becomes logical. The private hospital, the undisclosed medical team, the missing birth certificate details, all components of identical narrative management.
Doctor has come forward and has absolutely revealed, and you're going to listen to her. She has absolutely revealed and confirmed that Meghan Markle was never pregnant, never gave birth to any children. The doctor talks about both the children, and listen to what she says.
So you tell me to tell you something that maybe a dozen people actually know that's going to come out very soon. Okay. Meghan Markle, the reason why you watch her interviews and she just seems off. She's owned by a pharmaceutical company. The 2 children that she had, they're not hers. She didn't have them with Harry.
That's where the age question transforms from vanity into something critical. Since age isn't merely numbers, it determines risk, recovery, and reality. Should the calculations shift even slightly, so does the truth behind those carefully orchestrated photographs. Harry's personal memoir would soon reveal something no publicity team could eliminate. The birth details didn't align with hospital procedures whatsoever. Prince Harry's personal memoir intended to humanize the couple, yet instead it accidentally destroyed their fairy tale. His affectionate account of Archie's birth sounded picture-perfect with soft music, flickering candles, calm voices, 2 epidurals, and a radiant Meghan departing the hospital hours afterward. It was cinematic, almost excessively cinematic, yet when medical experts examined it, they didn't become emotional, they raised serious concerns. Portland Hospital, renowned for luxury maternity care, still adheres to strict post-epidural monitoring protocols. Patients typically rest under observation for several hours, sometimes overnight, and walking immediately after multiple epidurals is physiologically impossible according to professionals. Yet in Harry's account, Meghan was upright, radiant, and departing home before paperwork completion. Medical professionals quietly observed the contradictions. The discharge timing, the missing recovery details, the logistics of departing a secure central London hospital while newborn examinations were supposedly continuing.
And you're wondering, why does her age matter at all? Because her age would also have an impact on her ability to have children. Because if Meghan Markle is 4 years older than what we have been led to believe, it makes it even more difficult to believe that she was able to get pregnant so quickly.
Everything about the schedule felt artificially compressed and created a contradiction. Either Meghan's delivery bypassed standard medical procedure or the account was edited for image purposes, and should the latter be accurate, what was the motivation, privacy, or performance? Hospital protocols aren't adaptable fairy tales, they're established medical science, and Harry's idealistic account conflicted with every available medical guideline. When that night's precise hours were reconstructed, the illusion completely shattered. The mathematics didn't merely stretch, it completely broke. Examining the birth timeline minute by minute, it begins resembling an unsolvable puzzle rather than a royal event. According to Harry's personal account, Meghan delivered, received 2 epidurals, recovered, and departed Portland Hospital within approximately 2 hours, barely sufficient time for anesthesia processing, let alone safely discharging a new mother and newborn. Medical professionals who examined the account declared it physically impossible. After epidural administration, patients typically remain under observation for at least 6 hours, ensuring legs regain full strength and vital signs stabilize. Walking immediately afterward represents Hollywood fantasy, yet Harry's story had Meghan standing, smiling, and departing home as though she had just completed a photo session. Then there's the journey, approximately 1 hour from Portland Hospital to Frogmore Cottage. Factor in post-birth examinations, baby transfer procedures, security coordination, and paperwork, and the mathematics completely implode. The timeline isn't merely compressed, it's impossible. And no royal convoy operates that rapidly without bypassing procedures or bypassing truth. Even supporters began questioning the rush. What was so urgent that they would compress a medical event into a highlight reel? Some suggest privacy concerns, others point to image management, yet regardless, the story's precision feels suspiciously choreographed with every moment orchestrated to perfection. Should Meghan have genuinely departed within hours of labor, she circumvented medical standards that even the most private royal births have respected, and should the account have been edited for public relations purposes, it raises one disturbing question. Should they have revised a birth's timeline? What else in this royal story was rewritten for effect? A 2-hour miracle creates beautiful headlines, yet in reality it's a narrative that simply cannot exist. Every celebrity reinvents themselves to some degree, yet Meghan Markle didn't merely rebrand, she completely reconstructed herself. The transformation from supporting television actress to global duchess wasn't evolution, it was deliberate reconstruction by design. Every interview, every statement, every social media post functioned like brushstrokes, creating a new version of her, one protected from her past, her critics, and perhaps even her own timeline. Hollywood calls it image management. The palace calls it public relations. Meghan perfected both. By the time royal spotlight arrived, the woman who entered Buckingham Palace wasn't the same person her family remembered. She had become a new construction with age-modified, story streamlined, rough edges smoothed for mainstream appeal. The complicated parts got deleted, the problematic dates blurred. It's not merely vanity, it's survival. In the world Meghan entered, perception becomes reality, and once a story catches global fire, correcting it becomes impossible. You can't fact-check a fairy tale, you can only choose whether to continue believing it. That's what makes Samantha and Thomas's memories so threatening. They aren't alternative facts, they're anchors that drag the image back to something unfiltered, something human, something the palace publicity machine cannot polish away. Perhaps this was never simply about age. Perhaps it was about authority, about controlling the narrative before anyone else could. In Meghan's universe, truth isn't something you experience. It's something you craft, and once the crafted version takes hold, the world forgets there was ever an original draft. The evidence doesn't stop with family memories and magazine clippings, though. When you examine Meghan's educational and career timeline, even more inconsistencies emerge. If we're questioning Meghan's official birth year, then her educational timeline becomes crucial evidence. Official records show Meghan enrolled at Northwestern University in 1999 as an 18-year-old freshman, graduating in 2003 with a double major in theater and international studies. On the surface, this seems perfectly normal, but the details tell a different story. Northwestern University is prestigious and expensive. Someone born in 1981 enrolling in 1999 would mean starting college at exactly the right age. But here's where it gets interesting. If Meghan was actually born in the mid-70s, as evidence suggests, she would have been in her early 20s when she started college. That's not unusual for many students, but it raises questions about what she was doing during those missing years. Fellow students from Northwestern remember Meghan as mature beyond her years. Her sorority sisters from Kappa Kappa Gamma described her as someone who seemed older and more worldly than typical college students. Professor Harvey Young, who taught her African American playwrights course, specifically remembered being impressed by her sophisticated understanding of racial issues. Experiences he noted seemed beyond what a typical 21-year-old would possess. There's also the curious case of her missing yearbook photo. While Meghan graduated with the Northwestern class of 2003, her portrait wasn't included in the yearbook with the rest of her graduating class. For a student who is actively involved in sorority life and theater, this absence is unusual and unexplained. During her junior year, Meghan secured an internship at the U.S. Embassy in Buenos Aires through her uncle Michael Markle's connections. She's spoken about this experience as formative, working alongside high-level Treasury officials during Argentina's economic crisis. But if she was truly just 20 years old at the time, as her official timeline suggests, it would be remarkable for someone so young to be given such significant responsibilities in international diplomacy. The timeline becomes even more puzzling when you consider the gap between her high school graduation and college enrollment. If some family photos show her graduating high school in 1995, why wouldn't she start college until 1999? That's a 4-year gap that's never been explained. Most students either go straight to college or take a gap year, not a gap decade. Northwestern's own records and alumni materials treat her birth year as fact, but universities typically rely on information provided by students during enrollment. If Meghan had already created an alternative timeline by 1999, Northwestern would simply be reflecting the information she gave them, not independently verifying her age. After graduating from Northwestern in 2003, Meghan moved back to Los Angeles to pursue acting. By 2006, she was working as a briefcase girl on the NBC game show Deal or No Deal, appearing in 34 episodes over the course of a year. For someone officially in her mid-20s with a degree from a prestigious university, this might seem like a step backward, but if she was actually several years older, the career move raises different questions. Deal or No Deal was known for hiring young, attractive models to display briefcases. Most of the women were in their early 20s, fresh-faced and new to the entertainment industry. Chrissy Teigen, who worked on the show around the same time, was genuinely young and used the exposure as a stepping stone to bigger opportunities. But observers noted that Meghan seemed different from the other models, more mature, more focused, almost like someone who knew this was temporary. The pay was modest, only $800 per episode. For 34 episodes, Meghan would have earned about $27,000 before taxes and agent fees. If she was truly just 25 years old, fresh out of college and trying to break into acting, this makes sense as survival income. But if she was actually approaching 30, the financial sacrifice becomes harder to explain. Why would someone with more life experience and a Northwestern degree accept such entry-level work? Fellow briefcase model Donna Feldman later commented that Meghan seemed more serious and career-focused than typical game show models. While other women treated the job as fun temporary work, Meghan approached it like someone with a specific plan and timeline. She knew exactly when to leave, departing the show in early 2007 to focus on higher-profile acting opportunities. There's also the question of physical appearance. Video footage from Deal or No Deal shows Meghan looking polished and sophisticated, but not necessarily younger than her supposed 25 years. In fact, when compared to other models who were genuinely in their early 20s, Meghan appears more mature and experienced. This could be attributed to better grooming and professional experience, but it fits the pattern of someone potentially older than claimed. The career gap between Northwestern graduation in 2003 and Deal or No Deal in 2006 also requires explanation. What was Meghan doing during those 3 years? Official accounts mention small acting roles and freelance calligraphy work, but for someone supposedly so young and eager to break into Hollywood, 3 years seems like a significant delay in pursuing television opportunities. By the time she left Deal or No Deal in 2007, Meghan had positioned herself for bigger roles. Within 4 years, she would land her breakthrough part on Suits. If she was actually older than claimed, this career progression makes more sense. Someone in their 30s would be more strategic and patient about building toward a major television role rather than accepting whatever work was available. In 2011, Meghan landed the role of Rachel Zane on USA Network's Suits, playing a brilliant paralegal who eventually becomes a lawyer. The role would define her career and ultimately lead her to Prince Harry. But when you examine the timing and context of this success, more questions about her real age emerge. Rachel Zane was written as a young, ambitious law school graduate starting her career. For casting purposes, the character needed to appear fresh and youthful enough to be believable as someone just entering the legal profession. If Meghan was truly 30 when she was cast, she fit the role perfectly, but if she was actually 34 or 35, the casting becomes more remarkable and potentially more calculated. The entertainment industry is notoriously age-conscious, especially for women. Actresses often face pressure to appear younger than their actual years to continue getting roles. If Meghan had been consistently maintaining a younger age since college, landing Suits would represent the payoff for years of careful image management. Her relationship with Prince Harry, which began in 2016, also raises timing questions. Harry was born in 1984, making him 3 years younger than Meghan's official birth year of 1981. A 3-year age gap is minimal and perfectly normal, but if Meghan was actually born in 1976 or 1977, the age difference becomes 8 or 9 years. That's still not unusual, but it changes the dynamic significantly. The timing of their relationship and rapid progression to marriage takes on different implications with a larger age gap. If Meghan was actually approaching 40 when she met Harry rather than being in her mid-30s, the biological clock pressures around pregnancy become much more intense. Advanced maternal age begins affecting fertility significantly after 35, making the timeline for royal heirs more urgent. Their engagement in 2017 and marriage in 2018 moved exceptionally quickly by royal standards. If Meghan was actually older than claimed, this speed makes perfect sense. There would have been genuine time pressure around starting a family, rather than the leisurely timeline suggested by her official age. The decision to leave Suits at the height of her success also becomes more strategic when viewed through the lens of age deception. After 7 seasons, Meghan had achieved financial security and international recognition. If she was actually in her late 30s rather than mid-30s, The royal marriage represented not just a fairy tale romance, but a perfect exit strategy from an industry that would soon begin offering fewer opportunities. The ultimate irony is that if Meghan did successfully maintain an age deception throughout her career, the royal marriage completed the ultimate transformation. Once she became the Duchess of Sussex, her previous timeline became protected by royal privacy and institutional backing. Any questions about her age could be dismissed as tabloid conspiracy theories, while the official record became enshrined in royal history. When you line up all the clues, Samantha's memories, Thomas's timelines, the 17 magazine proof, that impossible hospital story, the Northwestern timeline puzzles, the deal or no deal contradictions, and the strategic royal timing, one thing becomes clear. Meghan Markle's public image didn't just evolve, it was engineered. A life edited frame by frame until even basic dates started bending to fit the narrative. Maybe it began as harmless branding, maybe it became habit, but when every detail from age to pregnancy starts to look rehearsed, the line between authenticity and performance disappears completely. This isn't about envy or gossip, it's about how easily truth gets lost when the cameras never stop rolling. If this story left you wondering what else has been carefully hidden behind that polished royal curtain, you need to see what happened next. Because in our last deep dive, a certain outspoken British host shocked live television when he pulled up those never-before-seen Soho House photos and dropped a truth bomb the world wasn't ready for. It's the moment that changed how everyone saw Meghan's rise, and it connects directly to what you just heard. Before you scroll away, click and keep watching. That investigation doesn't just expose more secrets, it explains why this entire illusion may have been crafted from the very beginning. You're watching Star Spotlight, where the lights are bright but the truth burns brighter. Stay tuned, hit subscribe. The next revelation is already waiting.